The Infinity Gauntlet is notorious among Marvel fans. Those fans recently got to see their first glimpse of the Infinity Gauntlet in action in Avengers: Infinity War, and it was terrifying. The legendary Gauntlet enabled the Mad Titan Thanos to snap his fingers and impose his will on the entire universe, making him unstoppable and causing audiences to worry about the Avengers' fates. The Infinity Gauntlet is one of those weapons that comes along when a comic writer wants to menace an entire universe full of superheroes and superpowered weapons. Boasting virtually limitless powers, the Infinity Gauntlet can alter the shape of reality with the mere snap of the fingers. It trumps nearly everything else in existence, and it is armed with 6 Infinity Stones: time, reality, space, mind, power, and soul. Each stone grants Thanos specific powers ranging from time travel to energy beams, but altogether they grant him dominion over the universe itself. When it comes to movies like Infinity War, superpowered weapons become more important than ever. As fans watched, they were likely wondering what, if anything, could possibly defeat Thanos when he wielded the Infinity Gauntlet. We scoured all of comics history, DC, Marvel, and a couple in between to find what fictional weapons, if any, could stand up to the big gold glove. But before we start, make sure you follow us by clicking on that like button below the video to get more sweet content from Animated Times. Let's do this. At number 8, Lantern's Power Rings. Now, if you've heard anything about the Lantern Corp's power rings, you've likely heard them in the same sentence as the most powerful weapon in the universe. So it shouldn't surprise you to see them here. There has never been any specified limit to the power of the Lantern's rings, since each power ring depends on the strength of a specific emotion from its wielder. There's really no telling how powerful the rings could become with the right user. The powers the rings grant include a protective life support suit, flight, energy beams, and virtually anything construct the wielder can think of, made from an unspecified kind of solidified light. It makes sense that the most powerful weapon in DC's universe would square up against the most powerful weapon in Marvel's universe, the Infinity Gauntlet. Both of the weapons rely on the strength and imagination of their wielder to be effective in battle, and while the Infinity Gauntlet has a wider range of powers, there's really no telling what the power rings limits really are. I mean, it's not guaranteed that a Green Lantern could defeat Thanos while he had the gauntlet, but there would also be no guarantee that Thanos would win either. Because the outcome is in doubt, that means the Lantern could prevail, so it makes the list. Coming in at number 7, Stormbreaker. Now, fans who saw Avengers: Infinity War should have expected this one. Thor's Stormbreaker is a weapon forged for the kings of Asgard, a weapon that can cleave through anything. Be it gods, monsters, titans, or the power of the Infinity Gauntlet, Thor makes a dramatic entrance in Infinity War and immediately changes the face of an entire battlefield as he waits for the Mad Titan Thanos to arrive. Now, when he finally does, Thor buries his lightning axe in Thanos' chest, his seemingly final blow. The problem is, with the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos is able to rewrite reality with his last breath. Thanos basically says it himself. If Thor had aimed at Thanos' head, it would have been an instant elimination and would have won the battle. Thus, we can pretty much empirically say that Stormbreaker is a weapon that can defeat the Infinity Gauntlet. Audiences watch Stormbreaker fly through the Infinity Gauntlet's energy beams without breaking a sweat. It may not have all the crazy powers of the Gauntlet, but it can match it blow for blow, and as long as its wielder aims for the head, there isn't much anyone can do to stop it. At number 6, the Sword of Superman. Now, the Sword of Superman is pretty weird. I mean, it was introduced in 1984 pre-Crisis Superman issue. Yeah, it had since disappeared from pretty much all DC canon because it makes almost no sense. Created by Elliot S. Maggin, the Sword of Superman was supposedly created during the Big Bang itself, long before Superman or even Earth existed. Somehow, the light of all creation coalesced into a sword that had Superman's symbol on it, and its existence explains why everyone in the universe knows who Superman is, because they've heard the legend of the sword, or, something like that. Anyways, the big glowing sword flies down to Superman to help him during a fight with the villain, and not even a particularly strong one. And it somehow helps him defeat the villain. It offers to grant Superman virtual omniscience and omnipotence. Yeah, the sword offered to grant him powers. Did we mention the sword was sentient? Yeah, the sword was sentient. Superman ends up rejecting all that power because he thinks he's already powerful enough for some reason, but the point stands. The sword would have granted Superman virtually identical powers to those of the Infinity Gauntlet. With Superman wielding it, he would likely have handed Thanos his butt. At number 5, Mother Boxes. Mother Boxes featured prominently in the Justice League League movie that everybody promptly forgot about, and fans may remember that when three were combined, they could easily destroy Earth. Mother boxes are essentially small supercomputers with a vast array of powers that includes, but not limited to, teleportation, healing, transfer energy, rearranging of matter, control machines, and even evolved sentient beings. The denizens of Apocalypse are the only ones who can make mother boxes, and since Apocalypse is ruled by Darkseid, you know that means the stuff they make is kinda powerful. The upper limits of mother boxes' powers are not fully known, as they seem to be catch-all devices that can do just about anything that needs to be done. Similar to the Infinity Gauntlet, the possibilities of mother boxes are virtually endless. Not only that, in several storylines, including the DCEU, combining mother boxes makes them exponentially more powerful, so get enough of them together and they could almost certainly give the Gauntlet a hard time. I mean, like, literally, just imagine Darkseid and a sea of mother boxes against Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. Who would win? I mean, it literally could go like either way, and for that reason, mother boxes make the list. At number 4, Mandarin's Mystical Rings. The 10 rings of the Mandarin earn their way onto the list because they function similarly to the Infinity Gauntlet itself. Much like the separate Infinity Stones that sit on the Gauntlet, the Mandarin's rings each have separate powers. Though unlike the Gauntlet, that's because each ring houses the spirit of an ancient warrior. Let's do a quick rundown of the powers that the rings grant the Mandarin. With his rings, he can manipulate light, darkness, and gravity, produce fire, ice, and electricity, disintegrate matter, fly, change the air around him, mentally paralyze others, and emit sonic blasts. That's not even the full list. The 10 rings grant more powers than that. Now, admittedly, the 10 rings might still have trouble going up against something like the Infinity Gauntlet. The Gauntlet can match most of the ring's powers, and likely at a much stronger rate. But like we've said before, this isn't a list of weapons that definitely would beat the Infinity Gauntlet, but a list of weapons that could beat it. If the Mandarin used his rings correctly and caught Thanos unaware, he would have a shot at defeating the Mad Titan. It's too bad that the only MCU Mandarin we've seen was a fake who was really named Trevor and wouldn't have known what the rings were. At number 3, Destroyer Armor. The Destroyer may not have been too impressive in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but its comics counterpart packs a much stronger punch. In the first Thor film, the God of Thunder doesn't have too difficult of a time putting the Destroyer out of commission once he gets his hammer back. But the fact that it took Mjolnir, a weapon that might have made it onto the list if it hadn't been usurped by Stormbreaker, to take down the Destroyer should tell you just how serious the suit of armor actually is. In the film, the Destroyer is like a guard robot, an automation that Odin uses to guard the halls of Asgard. In Marvel Comics, however, the Destroyer is a bit more complicated. It is akin to a living suit of armor, one that exponentially increases the strength, speed, and fighting capabilities of its wearer. With an average human inside the Destroyer, it probably wouldn't do much against Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, but with an Asgardian, or the spirits of multiple Asgardians, something Odin once did in the comics, the Destroyer becomes a fearsome threat on par with Stormbreaker itself. Coming in at number 2, the Helmet of Fate. One of the most powerful artifacts in the DC Comics universe, the Helmet of Fate, is what grants Dr. Fate, the agent of the Lords of Order, his power. Kent Nelson, the most recognizable character to wear the helmet, had almost no powers of his own when he wasn't wearing it. Wearing the helmet, he gains the powers of flight, invisibility, telekinesis, time travel, enhanced strength and speed, astral projection, future sight, and a whole host of more. Not only is he also one of the most powerful sorcerers in the DC universe, Dr. Fate also has a legitimate claim to immortality while wearing the helmet. He's even had a limited series titled The Immortal Dr. Fate. Stack all this up and you've got a weapon that could at least give the Infinity Gauntlet a run for its money. In much the same way that the Gauntlet turns its wielder into a being that can reshape the universe at will, the Helmet of Fate turns its wearer into one of the strongest DC superheroes. This is not to say the Helmet of Fate would easily defeat the Infinity Gauntlet in direct combat, but it would at least give its wearer a fighting chance. And coming in at number 1, the Heart of the Universe. Now, in an alternate Marvel Comics universe created specifically for a series called simply The End, there exists something even stronger than the Infinity Gauntlet. It's called the heart of the universe. Now, first things first, how could something actually be stronger than the Infinity Gauntlet, which can control reality, time, space, minds, and soul with its powers, you ask? Simple. The Infinity Gauntlet allows its wielder to control the universe, but it is limited by its wielder's imagination and attention. The heart of the universe solves that problem because its wielder doesn't just control the universe, they become the universe. In Marvel's The End storyline, Thanos, of course, who else, manages to become one with the heart of the universe. He is then attacked by eternal cosmic beings like the Living Tribunal, Eternity, Infinity, and many others, but they can't do anything to stop him. See, when Thanos merged with the heart of the universe, he became the entire universe, meaning that even immensely powerful beings like Eternity were nothing but a part of Thanos' greater whole. The heart of the universe may not be a part of Marvel's prime continuity, which resides in Earth 616 as opposed to The End's Earth 4321, but if it did, it could take on the Infinity Gauntlet and win handily. And there you have it. So, did we miss any weapons that could overwhelm the Infinity Gauntlet from Avengers Infinity War? Let us know in the comments below. If you haven't already liked our page, like and share our video. If you like what you saw, you can always check out more awesome content on our page. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.